Alright guys, we're going to go over the new 47 Z3 Spade. Originally it started as another aircraft with another airfoil, and over the last year gone through and changed the airfoil up towards the end of the whole project, realizing that the Zephyr airfoil, even though the other one flew so good, the Zephyr airfoil just could not be outdone. So the new Spade ended up getting named Zephyr 3 due to same airfoil, same twist, and you know, everything we've learned from the Zephyr. But let's go ahead and do a little overview of this aircraft. We have one here that's partially built. Ronnie's gone through the last few days and he's put all the sparring in and done all the spackling. Just kind of give you a look at the shell of the aircraft. You can see he's got aluminum hubs in every location in these areas. He put a couple custom one here. The kit doesn't come with them there, but he put a couple there. But these are in there to hold the lids down once you have them in place. They work really good. Put some thumb screws in it. Ronnie's also gone through the back of these bays and he's opened them up a little bit because he's putting a little bit larger gear in these aircraft. But CG on this aircraft is 8 inches back from where the wing meets the fuse, which ends up coming out the very center of this utility bay. This aircraft has been used in so many different fashions already, even to the point that Canon S100 for spectral imaging has been put directly in the middle of the aircraft to do you know, agricultural spectral imaging. But you know, at this point you still have room for an 80 amp speed control in the back. You have room for all your autopilot, your video gear and whatnot in this aircraft. It has a lot of design that's been put into the aircraft to you know, get it to this point to where it's going to be very friendly for just about anything FPV that you want to use. We love night flying and we love flying our airplanes in you know, crazy weather. So what I've done is put a lighting channel in here, so you could take, like, you know, SMD 3/8 strip, and you can put these in this aircraft, and basically you just drop them in this channel before you build, and then you lam right over them. But you know, you can run an JST connector into the nearest saddle bay on the wings in the saddle bay, and you can just, when you go to fly these, you just plug those right in, and your wing could be lit up completely around the perimeter. Run it to where it faces the outer edge of the whole perimeter, and you can even come out off that strip and tap into it and put winglets out on the very end too. So make for a really nice, fun late evening, even nighttime, full dark flyer. At this point, with all that in mind, we've gone through the design and put the skids as an integral part of the vertical. So these are basically a wear item. The skids themselves slide in, they're snug into the aircraft. We have retainer rings that end up going here. But on these skids, what is so nice is they're a part of the aircraft, and they're not something that's gonna let the bottom of the aircraft hit the ground when you come in for a landing. Because as it comes in for a landing, it just runs on them like a rail. Makes for a very, very nice way to keep the aircraft off the ground, and a nice way to be able to replace the skids without it being a pain in the ass. So we have a motor mount that's in the back. The motor mount itself gets sandwiched into the airframe. The motor mount is right on the correct thrust line from the get-go. We have 2mm fiberglass rods over the top of the airframe. We have 2mm fiberglass rods on the bottom of the airframe, and these are built to sandwich and I-beam this motor mount and fuselage, so the fuselage is box framed, which really makes this thing very, very, very durable. The foam density on this, I've had them take the foam density up on this a little bit more dense even than on the Zephyr. So with its big corded area, it has about, I think it's about 70 or 80 square inches less than the Zephyr has in the wing area. But we have found that we literally can load this thing down. We've done up to 10,000 milliamps of 3S and 4S in this aircraft, and found that you know, you can have enough battery to fly for like an hour in this aircraft, and then throw in an extra 15 to 25 ounces depending on the flight speed you're looking to go. And it's just a matter of positioning your battery back and forth and being able to even add more battery in the back if you want to. motors can vary tremendously. Our common setup that we run in this is maybe about a 100-gram outrunner running about 1300 kV, and maybe like a 4S 5000 to 7000 depending on what you're looking to do. And even to the point you can go to motors as light as maybe 65 grams, 70 grams, and drop like maybe a 3 or a 4S 3300 in it and a camera on the front and still be able to balance because of the center of gravity being directly in the middle of these bays, and having so much area for adjustability up in the front. It allows this aircraft to go in an extreme direction in either way. So at this point we're running a middle-sized servo in here, a middle digital gear. The traced out area is actually for larger standard size servos, and this aircraft has no problem running standard servos in it. So if you want to run a standard servo in it, it's just a matter of cutting these areas out to make it to where the standard size servos will fit in there. And we'll break this airframe apart to show you how small it gets. What's nice is this airframe can be packed into the smallest container and go just about anywhere. Right now we have the servo leads coming through, and there's a utility pocket in the side, so if you actually run an extension out of this side of the electronics saddle bay, you can, when you plug everything in, and you can just Z-fold it all back in when you put the wings back together. So when you slide them together, everything can go back together. The wing itself is just a short, stout, very straight piece of the wing. Because of being so small, it really is short, and it stays really stiff, but everything ends up coming apart to where this aircraft completely breaks down. This is your longest piece, right at 30 inches long, and then the other piece is I think right around 14 inches long. Those are the longest pieces of this aircraft, and that's basically would consider that would determine the length of your box that you would want to carry this in if you wanted to pack it up or make a soft case for it. Everything comes apart. Like I said, these are replaceable. If you're going to pack this away and go on a trip, the largest box you're going to need is going to be this right here. Over the years, I've had people really come at me about making a breakdown aircraft. This is all you would need as far as the maximum size to fit that aircraft in a container of any kind, whether it's a a padded sleeved soft container or even a. I'm actually getting a Pelican case made for this right now, where the wings themselves sit like this in the case, which means the case is only this big, and then these actually go on the very bottom of the case, and then these are nested in like this. So literally, if you come this way, Ron, you can see the width of this. It's very thin, and it's only just right at 30 inches long. So this aircraft can be packed up and taken just about anywhere. So we'll go ahead and show you one of the built aircrafts to kind of show you how it breaks down. And I will pass this over to Ron. Let him take it. He's got this aircraft geared up with FPV gear already and a full Ruby, and I'll let him kind of explain to you what he's got going on here, kind of give you an idea.
Okay guys, so on this build, this was built specifically for FPV. We decided to go with the Mobius camera just because of the ease of install. We've got the new Mobius mount. It carries both the Mobius camera, it's easily removed, and a flight cam, or you can choose to use your Mobius as your flight cam, whichever you prefer. We just figured let's give this one, it's our first one, a shot. Let's just try loading it up with both cameras. So that's how easy that is to deal with.
You put a little Velcro down there just to keep any vibration down, and just to have it give it a little more resistance once it holds down.
And VTX on this aircraft, I had decided to put on the side pocket here. It's going to use just a little 90-degree antenna popping up right in that area. With that setup, it left this bay available to just dump your gear, really. There's nothing that you have to get crazy about with putting in the rest of your flight gear. So we've got ESC, BEC is in here, some connectors, video power filter. On the far side here, this has got a full Ruby autopilot as well, and I decided to use this pocket for that. And there's your autopilot with your GPS. One of the beautiful things about this is how flexible it is. I've built another one just like this that's using a camera for mapping. The cameras in here didn't need FPV. You could just take everything that's in here, toss it into here. Running your wires to the battery, you can see on this one, I just made a small hole here in the side, and it gives you access to your battery plug. On the one where I had the camera there, I wanted this to be as empty as possible, so what we ended up doing was taking all this stuff in here and just made a hole from the corner of this right into your battery bay, and that's where the feed is coming in. So the nicest thing with this, and when you guys are doing your builds, is how flexible this is. Just give it a few minutes of thought before you put it together. Everything that's put in these pockets is sitting on or very close to CG. You've got about 9 or 10 inches of battery bay here to start moving your battery back and forth. Any size battery you can come up with that's going to fit in there, all the way to the front, all the way to the back, just slide it around till you hit your CG, and this plane is just so easy to work with. It's just a pleasure. After all the builds that I've done with the Z2s, to have this to play with has been great. Molded into this, you can see there's channels in the battery bay itself, and it's just really nice that you can drop wires in there. You know, I've got the lead coming from our Dragon Link receiver, comes through the thing, and it's sitting into this little groove here. Wires for the video are sitting in a groove. There's a pitot system on this because of the Ruby, and you can see that there's a pitot tube sticking out the front. But coming into the battery bay, again, that fits right into a groove there, so your battery's not banging into your wires and messing stuff up on you, and you don't think about it when you're putting things together, or you're ripping things out, just dropping a battery in.
Yeah, and we have the OEM Ritewing motor on this. This plane has been set up for 5S, and it's running an 8.6 prop. Very, very, very smooth, fast, and pretty darn efficient for that setup. If you really want to get crazy efficient and you're doing some loitering, you could put a 10.5 prop on this, put it on 4S, and it will loiter at 25 knots at about 83 watts. So that's with the Ruby managing it. So you're saying, you know, that being said, you know, at that point, you could probably get an hour and a half plus flight time in a loiter or assisted Ruby at 25 knots with maybe a 6,000 to 7,000 milliamp battery. So absolutely stupid. On the bottom of this, we've actually gone through and put, you can see on the bottom of the rails, we added some skid material on the bottom of the verticals. And all that is just some 3/16 plastic welding rod for plastic welding. And it just keeps the abrasion down if you're landing in rough areas. You can see the motor mount. We mounted the motor mount off the bottom of the plate, just getting the thrust angle down just a little bit farther as far as the thrust line. Same with the verticals. I mean the winglets out at the end. We've gone through and put a little bit of plastic in the groove on those. It just helps when you're landing in the rough areas and streets and dirt roads to make it nice and easy. I'll have Ron show you how this comes apart real quick, and then we're pretty much done here.
Yep. Breaking this apart is just super easy. We're taking, you know, we've got the clips that are built into this thing. We're taking these O-rings and basically looping them on the one side, on the fuse side, so that you're not losing them out on the field. If you decide to take this apart while you're out at the field, you just release it from the one side and it stays with the fuse. So pulling this off, I'm just right-handed, so I'm going to give Chris a bad angle here, but basically I'm just going to roll that off there.
Yeah.
And there's the one on the bottom here.
All you do is just pull it off, and then the wing itself.
Once that's there, you can just slide it apart, and it comes apart just like the other model that we just showed you. Putting it together is just sliding it back, and boom. Yep. You can see where on this one, where the wires were Z-folded into the side pocket, where they're starting to come out as we're pulling this apart. So this is where your connections are for your wing.
There you go.
If you're going to do lighting, you could run it into the same spot. So you just have 2 wires to plug in, and then just Z-fold everything right in there and slip it all together, and you're ready to rock.
Yeah, you can see we didn't put lighting in this one, so the channel's just covered and laminated over. And that's all we did on this one. But if you want to put it in, even later, you could still put it in later after the fact. Is what's nice is you just slice that laminate out of that area, and you could be putting them in no problem. So there's your overview of the 47. I hope you guys have fun with it. Yes, it's an awesome plane. It's got about 1.5 years of development in it, so of it actually being test flown and tweaked. Enjoy, guys.